According to a recent study, solar superflares could happen much more frequently than previously believed, with disastrous effects for Earth. Global communication networks, power grids, and satellites might all be affected by these enormous solar flares. Could there be widespread pandemonium on Earth as a result of the sun's next eruption? According to a new study, solar superflares are significantly more often than previously thought and may occur on Earth sooner than anticipated. The energy released by these massive explosions on star surfaces is millions of times more than that of a typical solar flare, and they have the potential to interfere with satellites, power grids, and international communication networks. Based on measurements of thousands of sun-like stars, a recent study suggests that superflares, which were previously assumed to be unusual occurrences, may potentially happen far more frequently than previously believed. A frightening truth is developing from the study's findings. Our sun may not be as safe as we previously believed. The frightening prospect that Earth might be susceptible to such an occurrence is currently causing scientists to reflect. The potential of a superflare is growing more real as technology continues to rely so much on power grids and satellite networks. Superflares are energy explosions that are significantly more powerful than any solar flare that we normally witness. These occurrences have the potential to devastate Earth by releasing up to 1 trillion times the energy of a nuclear weapon. The Carrington event, the strongest solar storm ever observed, briefly shut down telegraph systems in 1859. However, the power of that event paled in comparison to what a superflare would unleash. A superflare might have disastrous effects, including the disruption of satellite communications, the failure of GPS systems, and the collapse of electricity grids for days or even weeks. Such a flare might plunge us back into a pre-digital era, which would have repercussions ranging from possible safety issues on the ground and in the air to economic difficulties as our world grows more and more reliant on technology. These supercharged solar outbursts might happen with worrying regularity, according to a new study from the Max Planck Institute for Solar System Study, MPS. Using NASA's Kepler Space Telescope to investigate 56,000 sun-like stars, researchers discovered that these superflares occur far more frequently than previously believed. This implies that the sun might be about to produce its own superflare. The first study author from the MPS, Dr. Valery Vasilyev, said in a statement, "We were very surprised that sun-like stars are prone to such frequent superflares. Since it is yet uncertain when exactly such an event will occur, this disclosure has raised concerns. Even though we are unable to examine our sun over thousands of years, scientists can now study thousands of similar stars over shorter time periods, which helps them determine how frequently these hazardous events occur. Scientists believe that solar superflares were uncommon for many years. The latest study, however, casts doubt on this notion and suggests that they may be far more widespread than previously thought. Scientists have been able to get a better idea of how frequently these catastrophic events might happen by looking at how other stars, including the Sun, behave. According to MPS director and study co-author Professor Dr. Sami Solanki, we cannot observe the Sun over thousands of years. Alternatively, we can track the short-term behavior of thousands of stars that are quite similar to the Sun. This aids in our estimation of the frequency of superflares. The finding that these supercharged explosions occur more frequently than anticipated calls into question both the fragility of our global infrastructure and our readiness for such an occurrence. Superflares' possible effects on Earth, space-based technologies, aviation, and communication networks might all be affected by a superflare. Widespread devastation would probably result from a flare of the Carrington event size striking Earth. There would probably be blackouts, power outages, and GPS system problems. the consequences might be dire for nations that mostly depend on satellites for communication, navigation, and weather forecasting. Additionally, contemporary air transport that depends on GPS and satellite communications may be grounded, because the satellites that supply guidance would be rendered inoperable. Any brief interruption of GPS data could compel aircraft to land or reroute. There would be significant financial ramifications. Everything from telecommunications to stock markets would be impacted by the disruption of satellite communication systems. Global trade may suffer greatly from data loss, and recovery efforts might take years, particularly if power systems were shut down